Good morning, everybody. I am here with Julia Wallace, who you will all remember and be happy to see her smiling face. I'm quite sure. Julia, how you doing this morning?
Doing well, Ryan. Good to see you and good to be with you all. First Baptist family. Miss you all.
Yeah, I say good morning, but it's mid-afternoon there. Is that right in
Mhm.
Lebanon?
Yeah, it's 3:45 p.m. So I think we're about 7 hours ahead of you at the current moment because of daylight savings.
Very good. Now remind everybody, how long have you been in Lebanon for those that are needing a refresher?
Yes. So actually, this past Sunday marked my 7th month here, which is really hard to believe. I got here August 14th last year. So 7 months.
Amazing. That's great. Well, today we wanted to let Julia give everybody a little bit of an update about what's going on in Lebanon. So Julia, what is going on in Lebanon, and how have things been going the past few months?
Yeah. So, I am so thankful to be here at this time. And again, it's one of those examples of how I think God's timing is perfect. I've enjoyed my time, but it's been a really hard time for Lebanese. I don't know if you all remember, but back in August, there was an explosion that happened that destroyed a lot of the city, took lots of lives. And then their economy has also just been in flux, and they're actually in the worst economic recession that the country has ever seen, and it's getting worse by the day. So the past 7 months have been really a bit tumultuous for the country. We actually just finished a 5-week total lockdown as well, because on top of the explosion and the economic crisis, COVID was also rampaging. And so in January, there's actually more COVID deaths in Lebanon than all of last year combined. So this past January was really interesting coming back because I was in the States for Christmas, but we came back and where there was a 5-week total lockdown. And so that was interesting. Even grocery stores were closed and you had to order delivery. So that was the most restrictive measures since I've been here, which is needed to curb the spread. But unfortunately, the economic side of that was catastrophic. Most people here work cash in hand jobs. And so having the country shut down for 5 weeks really, really debilitated people who are already economically vulnerable. And so currently, too, there's just lots of protests going on downtown in the main area, just because people are fed up and desperate because of the economic situation. And a recent report actually, so currently there's been about an 80% devaluation of the currency, and that's only increasing. In the past year, so 2019, I think the estimates were that Lebanon had about 28% people in poverty. Now the estimates are 55% and growing. So it's almost double the amount. And then extreme poverty too is almost tripled. It used to be 8% in 2019. And 2020, it was about 23% of people living in extreme poverty. And on top of all of that, a quarter of the people in the country are refugees, who again are among the most vulnerable. So that's kind of an overview of what's been happening the past few months since I've been here. Explosion happened right before I arrived, economic collapse, and then COVID. So lots of things going on.
My goodness, as if one thing would have been enough, but
Mm-hmm.
on top of each other, it's a lot, and everything has compounding
Mm-hmm.
effects as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how your ministry is responding, and do remind us, for those who've
Mm-hmm.
forgotten, who you're working with, and then tell us how your ministry is responding.
Yeah, for sure. So I work with the Lebanese Society for Educational and Social Development, which is basically a long way of saying the Lebanese Baptists. So my organization, they do a variety of things. It's hard to sum it up. They have 6 ministries underneath them that work with inclusive education. They equip the church. They have a seminary and a publishing house. But then they also do relief and development. So again, with everything happening in the country, we've been all hands on deck, really busy the past few months, just because the needs are arising significantly. And so we're doing a lot. So as far as like providing food vouchers and food boxes, hygiene kits, education. And again, this is for tens of thousands of people throughout the country. And so our organization has done a lot to meet those immediate needs. Even recently too, we started delivering food to families with COVID who are not able to cook for themselves. And then schools, education, there's a whole education crisis going on as well. because most schools in the country are private schools, but because people can't pay, private schools are going under, and they make up 70% of students in Lebanon go to private schools. So it's just another, these kind of unanticipated consequences of all the other crises. And so yeah, my ministry is doing a lot to meet different needs in a variety of sectors. But it's been really neat to be here and see the people working tirelessly, my coworkers working tirelessly to meet each emerging crisis.
Yeah, that's amazing. Julia, you're there at the right time when there's just
Mm,
a whole lot of need. What has been your personal role in
mm.
this current season?
Yeah. And so I'm thankful. I have kind of a patchwork of things I do. And so, I do content creation. I help write their newsletter articles. So I interview people, I write reports. I'm also a development officer for one of the 6 ministries. And so a lot of what I do is researching grants, writing grant proposals, doing grant reports for donors. So a lot of that kind of behind the scenes technical stuff. But then recently, I've also viewed my role here as just being an encourager. Again, it's been, I think, one of the hardest things to see is just how tempted people are to despair and hopelessness. Even Christians in the country are just really finding it hard to maintain their hope just because it's one thing after another. It's very relentless. And so I think it's kind of wearing down on their resilience and their hope. And so again, that's one unofficial thing I view as my role, is just to be an encourager for people here in the office and then in my own sphere of influence.
Wow, that's great. How can we as a church be supporting you in this season?
Mhm. Yeah. And so I think one of the main things is just prayer, specifically for my coworkers. Again, they're doing incredible work. You can go online and read our annual report, and we've helped tens of thousands of people last year, and the work hasn't stopped, it's only increased. And so just prayers for resilience, that God can renew people's spirits and give them hope, maybe not in a changed government, but in Him, acknowledging that He's still working and moving and providing. So prayer is a main one, but also encouragement. If anyone feels led to do so, I think even just words of encouragement would mean so much to people at the organization. Whether you all want to send emails or write notes or something, I'd be happy to share those with your brothers and sisters here in Lebanon who are tirelessly working, but also to let them know they're not forgotten. But then if anyone is interested, also giving, your money goes farther because the dollar is so strong compared to the local economy. So if anyone feels led to give, I can give Ryan a link to our website, and that would be a blessing to many people.
Yeah, thanks, and please do send that to me. Is there also a place where people can sign up for this newsletter that you write as well, if they're interested in getting some of the content that you're producing?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to send that with to Ryan as well. I do send out an email update about every 3 months or so. I try not to overwhelm people with updates. But yeah, if you want to follow along with what I'm doing here, ministry, how I see God working in the country, please feel free to sign up for my newsletter. I'd love to have that more personal contact with you as well.
Very good. Well, Julia, on a personal level, is there anything that we can be praying for you about as you're there?
Yeah. So 2 things come to mind. First of all, language acquisition. So I am taking Arabic courses with a private tutor. So just prayers for that. I would love to be able to communicate more fully with people in their heart language. So that's a big one. But then I don't know if you all have heard or not, but I got engaged over Christmas. So that's an exciting update in my life. So just prayers for me and my fiance Michael as we prepare for him to move to Lebanon. So we're getting married later this year, and then he's moving to Lebanon as well. So just prayers for that transition into marriage, and also as Michael prepares to move to Lebanon.
That's fantastic. We're so excited for you, Julia, and you'll be getting married this summer, and you'll have a pit stop here in Waco at the church in about August. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, yes. Mark your calendars. I'll be there sometime in August. I'll get those dates to Ryan. But I look forward to seeing you all, to visit with you all, give you all more updates, and just worship with you again. It's been a long time since I've done that. So
Very good. Well, we do miss you, and we're thankful for the work you're doing. We know that
Mhm,
uh, these are historically hard times in Lebanon,
mhm,
and
mhm.
there's there's a lot of prayer needed. There's a lot of work on the ground needed. We're so thankful for your organization, the Lebanese Baptists, and we want to be we need to be praying for you and just asking that the church would show up big in this time. And
Mhm.
so thanks
Yeah.
for doing what you're doing, and
Yeah.
so good to catch up today.
Yeah, and thank you. I just want to thank you to you, Ryan, but also the church family. Thank you for making it possible for me to be here. As a church body, you are supporting me being here. And like Ryan said, the timing, God's timing is perfect. The first week I arrived, I was telling people, I had just got there, and I arrived 10 days after the explosion, mind you. And so I remember talking to this pastor, and he looked at me when I told him I had only been here 10 days, and he said, "You came at the wrong time." And then he paused and he said, "Or maybe you came at the right time." And that really stuck with me because I think it's so true that there's so many needs here, so much work to be done, a lot of people trying to leave the country. So I think just I'm thankful that I'm here, and I know that it's the right timing. So thank you all for enabling me to be here. You are part of God's work here in Lebanon.
Good. Thanks, Julia. Well, so good to see you, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah,
Okay?
sounds good. Thanks, Ryan. Good to see you all. Bye.